What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Darnell Smith here for another episode of Players Day Off. I'm here with my main man, my guy, Otito Ogbonnia, defensive lineman for the Chargers, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir, man. Definitely excited to have you here out here in AZ, Super Bowl edition of our episode. So before we even dive into you and kind of your season and life outside the field, Chargers, really, kind of up and down season, but, ended off, pretty strong towards like the back end of the season. Obviously, the playoff game didn't go as expected, but how would you assess just the overall season for yourself and the team?
So I guess I'll start with defensively. We started a little shaky, especially with all the moving pieces, especially all the pieces we got from free agency and draft picks. Just a lot of guys playing, haven't played with each other. And so I think once we started to gel, like midway through the season, you started seeing some of the more dominant performances that we had as a defense. And that really showed in some of those games we won late in the year. I think overall as a team, we obviously took steps. Like you said, it was up and down earlier in the year. We didn't, it was hard to see what was going to happen, but we kind of just kept pushing though. Like I remember like Coach Staley, he was just like, look, like we're week 5, we're week 6. Like we got a long way to go. And so, it was one of those things where we're going to look back and like look where we are after, and like be either be happy or mad about that, depending on how we take this process. But I thought we had an overall like good season. Like you said, it was like a heartbreaker to lose the way we did in the playoffs. But I think that'll really keep us salty for next year, and people know exactly how to. I mean, that was devastating. So. I think it'll be good for us. It'll be a good lesson for us, for the coaching staff and the players. And I think for me overall, like I think just coming in my first year and being able to play as much as I did and do what I did there, I don't take any of that for granted. I feel like that experience and that confidence will really take me to the next level this coming up year. So I'm really excited to what's to come. So.
Nah, most definitely, man. You played a big role with the team this season. You brought it up, so we got to talk about it a little bit. That tough loss, that comeback, victory, playing against the Jags there. Just talk about just the feeling in the locker room. I guess post game, but even before that, like as a former player myself. Sometimes when you're on that field, you can feel the momentum shifting.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like even before it's happened, you kind of feel like, oh man, like we kind of going down the wrong way. Like talk about how you were feeling during the game, and did you kind of feel like things wasn't really going, y'all way late in that game?
Yeah, I think it was pretty evident. Like when our offense, couldn't score and our defense was out there a lot, and we really weren't stopping anything. I think those back-to-back drives were those are momentum swings, all those things, those little things that happen when they score. Okay, like we're still up 20, we're still up 15, whatever it was. You're thinking, okay, we still got this. The momentum shifted a little bit. We're still good, but I think it was kind of evident we couldn't move the ball, and we just really couldn't stop him. You like you said, you kind of felt like, okay, like this is going to turn into a real game.
Right, the energy was shifting.
Yeah, the energy was shifting. It's like it was the NFL playoffs. Like nobody's going out like sad like that. So it was a tough one. And then like you said, like post game. I think, at least for me, it was like a surreal moment, like in a way that like it was kind of like hard to believe. Like, damn, like you couldn't really take all of that in, like in that moment. Like you didn't, like obviously you see all this, the headlines after this greatest loss of history, this ranking and stuff. So you don't really take that in until like things really settle down, and that's kind of the way I felt. Like it was kind of hard to believe, and it's like that's like that. The season's over, So
right. Like you said before, I mean, sometimes you got to go through tough things in order to really bounce back and to elevate to those new heights and those new levels. You know what I'm saying? Right. You guys got a lot of leaders in that locker room, who I'm sure will use that loss as motivation during this offseason and, before next season to really get things going in the right track.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. Playing against Trevor Lawrence, how would you I feel like this year was a really good year for him in terms of showing people, hey, like I was worth being that number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
It was really the tale of two halves for him. First half was probably something he don't even want to remember. Asante Samuel, he had how many picks?
4. In
like the first half.
It was crazy. I'll go.
I'm watching the game. I said, hey, he might be better than your daddy.
He's catching all.
He was going crazy.
Because people trying to get on him for early in the year for the stuff he wasn't picking off, and so I was like, he made up all of them right there, all in one game.
In a half, though. Not even a game, but
in a half.
But I was Trevor Lawrence, gotta admit, he second half and he brushed that off and bounced back. How is it playing against him though?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's interesting you said about like him being like worth the number 1 pick. So I remember coming in, we played him early in the year, so we played him twice, and I remember like the scouting report was saying like he's a different guy than like what you've seen on tape in the prior years. Like he's developed. My coach staff really came in and helped him. I think with Urban Meyer, it was hectic, everything going on, and so he's really gotten a chance to develop, being an older player in the league, well, a young player, but more experience. So we kind of knew like he got something to him.
Yeah.
And then like it was evident in the way like when you playing, I'm like, okay, like this guy's he's something. And then as the season progressed, he had a couple ups and downs. So it's kind of just evidence just being like just a younger guy.
Right.
And then but yeah, like his performance in the playoffs was like that was. I don't know what to say about that necessarily, because it was like it's kind of like freak. It's like that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like guys don't throw 4 picks like that. And
it's almost like he had the worst half you could possibly have, and then almost like the perfect
dimes, throwing dimes, right? Yeah. Like I mean, I guess it makes the story sweeter for them.
For them.
Like I mean, you go through that hell initially, but yeah, that's basically my thoughts on it. Like it was one of those things like, well, this is crazy. But especially because of the type of player he was, like a former first overall pick,
right?
And to see that out of him was definitely surprising.
Not for real, man. And we can't talk about one quarterback and not bring up your quarterback. I call him Jay Herbo.
Yeah,
Big fan of Justin Herbert. Just talk about, just how he is as a leader in that locker room. Kind of take us behind the scenes about how he is, in practice and just in the locker room and outside of just the game.
So because of who he is on the field and like how he operates on a day-to-day basis, just whether it be at practice or in the weight room or just in the building at meetings, he exudes like a certain level of confidence, right? And that like has impact on us as players. Like we know, like if we have Justin, we got a shot in the game, no matter what the injuries are, no matter how many points we're down. We know we got Justin because he brings that confidence to it, and that's more than just him being a good player. Like that's a part of it, but it's because of how cool he is, calm and collected. He's never really rattled. He's always gonna go out there, make the play call and make plays, and he's not afraid to throw deep, to take shots and do what he has to do to help us win. So that's kind of how I feel like he really impacts us.
That's real, man. It's all about that energy, So you put out that confidence, that good energy is going to reflect amongst your teammates, man. So, well, let's take it back to you. Rookie year. I got to ask you this. I mean, you're playing with some dogs on that D-line, right? I know there's some injuries, but you got Joey Bosa over there. You had Khalil Mack over there. We're talking about some potential future Hall of Famers.
Right.
Talk about just how just playing alongside some other greats, how that just helps you from your rookie year, perform and just kind of learn the game probably a little faster than maybe some other rookies, man.
Yeah, when you know like what those guys' like background is and their history, like I've been watching Joey since his St. Thomas Aquinas days in Florida, so I've been keeping track of him for a while now to see like what he does on a day-to-day basis and some of the ways he treats his body and then attacks practice, like that really helped me. One of the biggest things I could probably specifically say is that like Joey and Khalil like move differently, and then what I mean by that, like not like speed, I'm talking about like the way they bend. Like they bend differently. So that is one thing I feel like I aspire. Like looking at that, I was like, I see why they're elite,
right? Because
of the way they're able to move and put their bodies in certain positions and come from a position of power,
right.
Being low and being stable. And having certain body control, like they make you think the way they play everything's like erratic, but not like if you really break it down, everything's really clean, concise.
Right. Each step matters.
Everything. Like everyone just talking to Joey about his rush plan and what he looks at and the way he gets off. Everything's very detailed. I mean, sometimes he's repped like thousands of times to kind of perfect, and so you see it in his game. Same thing with Khalil. Like I remember one of the first times I realized how, you could see how he bends on tape, but I saw it in person. We were going against the Dallas Cowboys joint practice. He runs off that line, just dips right on the left tackle, just dips. But his body was kind of perpendicular, so his legs were just like down though. Man. So it was like I was like, oh wow, like he can really bend.
My body can't even do that.
Yeah, I can't.
I play deep tackle, and it's like I can bend to an extent, but
like that, and that was the biggest thing is that pad level and being able to bend. So I was thinking like there's a difference between flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is like a standstill, and mobility is be able to do it like moving. And I feel like I've always had flexibility, but that mobility aspect has been lacking a little bit. So that's definitely one of the biggest things I'm learning from him. So
that's real, man. That's real. Let me ask you this: rookie year, you all hear these stories about the rookie dinners. Did they have give us a story? Did they hit you over the head? what was your rookie situation like? Keep it real with us.
Funny story. Oh, it's kind of funny. We're in New Orleans. We're at preseason playing the Saints. We go out to some spot. And it's actually my birthday. That's just kind of nuts.
Dang, okay.
So it's my birthday. I'm like, okay, we're going out to eat. But it's not for my birthday. We're just going out to eat. And especially the older guys, they aren't playing. So that, everybody's kind of enjoying themselves. And we're eating and stuff. And then at the end, they're talking about, it's time for me to pay. I said, nah. So you can't make me pay on my birthday, bro. Like, that would be cruel. They're like, nah, it's your rookie dinner. It's your rookie dinner. I said, nah, I can't pay for this one. And it's funny, everybody's, ordering drinks and doing whatever. And it was a funny experience. But that was really my main experience with that. And then a part of it was just buying food like every week, buying breakfast and whatever they needed on a week-to-week basis for each game and whatnot. So that was kind of it. Like, I was kind of dreading a little bit. It wasn't too bad, but I think it's kind of, I guess, something you kind of have to go through. You can't get out of that. Like,
so just for clarity, it sounds like for your birthday dinner, you were able to kind of get out of that situation.
Yeah, I was able to finesse that a little bit.
But because of that, they was like, all right, well, you about to buy us breakfast every
I was
single week.
I was already buying the breakfast.
What was you buying? Like McDonald's? Like, what was you doing?
I was catering a bunch of stuff. Like I was a couple days before, calling around.
Breakfast.
Real breakfast, catering real stuff. So it was good though. Like I enjoyed it, honestly. Made people feel good. Like they're ready to practice and stuff. So
give me an estimate, man. Like if you add up all the catering breakfast, you like how big of a bag did you drop on that? Estimate.
It's funny because I just did my bookkeeping.
Hey, it is tax time later, bro. I need to get my stuff together.
If you talk about that, it's probably around 5 or 6.
Okay, not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Because I've heard some stories, people pay 20, 30, 40,000.
Yeah, easy on the dinner. Yeah. It wasn't too bad. They weren't trying to get on me too bad. So I respected that. I like that.
That's love, man. That's love, man. And then it has to be a moment, man, I feel like every rookie goes through where it's like their welcome to the league moment, whether it was practice, game. So there's different ways to do it. Like one aspect could be like, oh, I just met Tom Brady. Oh my gosh. Or another aspect is like, this guy just bust my ass out here in the field. The league is different. Like, do you have a story for either angle?
I would say practice. I remember it was a joint practice with the Cowboys. And I remember going there, going against the first team offensive line. So, you just practice. You're gonna come off the rock. Like, especially everybody's juiced up. We're playing another team, and it's different from when you're practicing against your own dudes. It's like people are coming off, but it's also your own guys. So you're not trying to get anybody hurt, and so on and so forth. But that surge I felt on that double team, I said, "Oh, I said, I got that surge." I said, "Okay, this is real. This is real.
Let me tighten this up a little bit."
Okay, I said, "Okay, you're coming off the rock today, okay." Hey. And then another one was Zeke, Ezekiel Elliott. The way he practiced, I was like, "This dude is doing this like that."
Hard. He go hard in practice.
He's running hard.
Practice.
Running hard in that joint practice. I said, "Oh man, he looks fresh.
Yeah.
He looks fresh. Does not look washed whatsoever. I mean, he was moving well. I was like, he's a good player." But that was probably those two moments. He's running. He's trying to run you over.
Right.
He's lowering his head. So
joint practice is the first time you got that contact with somebody else, or everybody just ready to hit somebody else. So
yeah. So that's kind of how it was. That was probably my welcome to the NFL. I think probably the second part was just my first game and going out and making a play, and I was okay, I could do this. But it wasn't more of this is bad. It's more like this is I got more confidence that way.
I can do it.
Yeah.
But that field, man, I used to get double teamed in college, and I was an undersized defensive tackle, so I used to, I used to get sturdy. I used to get sturdy with it. But I can't imagine the NFL, that double team might hit a little different.
Whoa, man, they surged off the back. I said, okay.
Yeah. So listen, enough about the field right now. I want to learn more about who Tito is away from the game. So let's talk about, you obviously you have a strong Nigerian culture and background. Talk about how, I guess how important that is to you.
It's extremely important. I feel I'm really prideful of where I'm from, Igbo boy, out here from Nigeria. So I think that like whatever your culture is, I think holding that true to yourself will keep you grounded and keep you who you are in the midst of like all the chaos of the world, you know. But that's something that's always been really prevalent in my life, and I was raised on those morals and culture and that culture. So it's kind of the way I navigate, is through that culture. Honestly, like I think about how I'm perceived and how this impacts my family, extended family beyond the United States, and so that's something that's really big for me.
That's real, man. Do you kind of feel like a sense of like an added pressure to an extent to just succeed and be like, just perform at a high level in everything you do? I feel like everybody I know, one of my close friends, is Nigerian. His whole family's dang near successful. Everybody I know in like Nigeria, is a success. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like, do you feel like the added, I don't know if it's pressure is the right word, to just succeed, to kind of motivate and inspire the people in your family? I don't
see it as pressure because it's all I've ever known. So since, obviously the day I was born, that's how I was like thought to think, like success.
Right.
And like, not that there isn't another option, but like my mind never really ever drifted there. So it never felt like pressure. It just felt like this is just what I'm going to do. Like it was happening, like regardless. So the way it was kind of instilled with me, and it was never more like you have to succeed or your life is over. It was more just like this is it.
We're just gonna succeed.
We're just gonna happen. So that's kind of how we operate. That's how my parents have always operated. And so like I never felt like, oh, if I don't make it or if I feel like there's added pressure or anything, this is normal to me. It's just my life. So
that's real, man. I mean, it makes me think it's like the power of the mind almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, you get to decide how you think about it. Like you can really control like how you feel about certain things. Because I think if somebody else is in my shoes, they may feel that way. Like, oh, you feel like pressure that you do well and succeed. I never really felt like that. I just felt like I am going to. So
that's real, man. That's deep. So talk about, what do you like to do when you're not playing football, but when you're not watching film, you're not thinking about the game, what are you into? I know you're a rookie, right now, so I don't know if you got any business ventures yet. You ain't talking to that, but what is Tito into, man? You a gamer?
I'm not a gamer. Like I watch TV. I'm a big like binge watch guy. That's something I'm definitely interested in, but when I'm not doing that, I'm probably baking, honestly. Like baking or cooking, yeah.
Hold on, I'm about to change the whole conversation, man. You nice in the kitchen?
No, I'm a big baker.
What you bake? You talking brownies, cookies? Or?
No, but that's nah. We're talking about like real stuff, like croissants. We're talking about like tiramisu. We're talking about like pound cakes and all types of stuff, like real like lemon meringues and whatnot.
You throwing down like that?
Yeah.
Bro, we gonna shut down the whole interview. Go in the kitchen and get some flour, whatever you need, and see how you can throw down.
Well, I'm telling you, I can do right now.
Oh man, I'm gonna talk to the producer and see if we got some stuff in the back, man. This is it. Like, so let me ask you this. Obviously, you're not thinking about life after football, probably fully yet. You're just now getting started. But do you see yourself being like a chef or something within the culinary?
I thought about possibly owning a bakery, owning a restaurant at some point later in my career. I feel like I've been developing a ton of recipes for like most of my life, honestly, because I started when I was like 7 or 8, like baking and stuff, and a lot of it just had to do with just interest. I was just like intrigued, like especially in my house. So like it's typical gender roles, like the women like cook and clean, and like the guys are doing like the grunt work and whatnot. And I remember just like wanting like to do everything. Like I wanted to be a part of everything, and I think that's how I slowly started like developing that. And then all of a sudden, I'm making stuff and experimenting on things like just like off the dome, like not like thinking about it, and like stuff wasn't going well, but I just kept experimenting, and then eventually took classes for a few years, and then like here we are. But I think that would be just something I'm definitely interested in, probably opening at some point, like later.
That's
so
dope.
That'd be cool.
Have you baked some goodies for your teammates yet for the D-line?
Yeah, I have. So I think the first thing is when the D-line is still salty about this, because I made that first for Justin, but it was because I lost a bet. So I bet him whoever like wins the UCLA Oregon game, I'll make him a tiramisu. And I forgot what he said he was gonna get me, but so obviously Oregon won, and I made him a tiramisu, and everybody found out, and they're like, "Oh, how you gonna make something for him and not make it for us?" But eventually I started making stuff for the D-line and whatnot. But that's kind of how that started. But so now like I get requests like every few weeks or so, like, "Hey, can you make this? Can you make that?" Especially when I was in season, guys trying to, whatever their favorite stuff is, typically I can make it.
You better start charging them.
I actually have fun with it, because especially if it's something I haven't made in a while, I don't mind. Plus it's my team. Like I like seeing a joy in people's faces, like when they taste something that's good and that's really homemade. So I don't mind at all. Like if it's something like kind of boring, like I don't want anybody to ask me to make like a chocolate chip cookie or something like that. Right. Like you can get a chocolate chip cookie anywhere.
Right.
It's like the most made, the dessert like of all time or whatever. But yeah, that's just kind of how I roll.
What's your go-to dish? Like at the end of the day, we need your best thing that you can make. What you whipping up?
I've been told like out of like, so there's one of my teammates from college. He's tasted almost everything I've ever made, and he said the best by far would probably be the cinnamon rolls. Ooh. And ironically, it's probably what took me the longest to perfect. Like out of all the recipes I have, like I was developing that recipe for like 4 or 5 years, just mixing different like ingredients, especially like the spices, like the cinnamons. Like I got 3 different cinnamons, importing from all over the world, trying to get like the perfect combination of stuff. And like that was just something that was really meticulous. And honestly, that tiramisu like is up there too. Like people have been telling me like it's low key a really good one because it's not like overly sweet, and it's not gonna blow you away from like a sugar high standpoint, but it's like the perfect like
balance.
Yeah. So
bro, I'm sitting here getting hungry right now, man. Listen, I want to say this: I haven't met any D lineman specifically who's like that in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna do it today or what, but I'm gonna have to try out something. I'm in LA as well, so if it ain't today, then I'm in LA. So we can link up or something. We can figure it out. I gotta try it out.
We got it. No, I got you. What's your favorite dessert?
What's my favorite dessert? I've been on a real heavy like red velvet, cupcake type vibe lately. So big red velvet guy. Red velvet anything,
Believe it or not, that's the first thing I ever made was a red velvet cupcake. Complete failure too, but the first thing I ever made was when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I was just like begging my mom to buy me ingredients, and she bought them, and I was like, started making them, and I actually think the cupcake turned out fine. When I went to make the cream cheese frosting, I remember like, since I wasn't measuring anything, I think I put too much milk in there, and then it was like watery or whatever. And just like to save it, I added flour. Yeah. I piped it on the cupcakes anyway. I tried one; it was terrible, and I dumped it, and I thought it was funny. But yeah, I have a pretty good red velvet cupcake recipe.
We're gonna make something happen, my guy, man. Fan of yours, man. Love just kind of learning more about you, your story, your culture. Good luck as you continue to grow in your career, my guy. And man, it was a pleasure having you on Players Day Off.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir. Of course, man. Another episode. My guy Tito, the chef, the lineman, the everything, man. It's Players Day Off, y'all. Peace.
All right.